Morning all, and warm welcome to Healthy Aging 2023, which is our annual chance to take stock of all the great work going on around the country to help us rethink how we live our later lives. And a particularly warm welcome also to the audience online, and more about them in a minute. So I feel like I know quite a lot of you, but for those that don't, I'm George MacGinnis.
All right, I'm Cynthia Bullock.
And together we're going to be your hosts for the day, and we lead the Healthy Aging Challenge.
So we have a really exciting and packed agenda for you today. This is our 4th annual conference, and it's been really, really exciting. We have over 1,000 people registered. It's by far our largest and most international. We have about 42 countries represented right around the world, and what's really exciting is that represents quite a huge diversity in terms of sectors and industries. So before we get going properly with the program, we thought it would be helpful to just tell you a little bit about how you would connect and ask questions throughout the day, but also for a chance for us to get to understand what it is that you really want to get out of today. We'll be using the Slido platform. And that allows you to connect as well as ask questions, both here at the Oval, but also our online audience. Welcome. So to get started, if you go to slido.com and enter the code that you see there, the first question is, what would you most want to get out of today?
Good. And so while you're doing that, I'll just do some of the usual housekeeping, tell you where the emergency exits are and all the rest of it. So the fire exits you'll see are signed. The assembly area is in the forecourt of the pavilion stand, which is the main entrance as you go towards Oval Tube Station. There are no fire alarms planned for today, and you'll be pleased with that. Just a reminder, on your badges, on the back of your badges, you'll find details of the Wi-Fi, the Slido, but also the sessions that you've pre-booked for. Now, I know that a lot of people want to change their minds, and if you haven't pre-booked for one of our sessions and you'd like to go, there will be a way of us sort of controlling the flow into those rooms so that if there are spaces, you'll still be able to get in there. So do remember that. That's our social media hashtag, and please tweet as much as you can as you go through the day. There is, as you see, as I'm being photographed as we speak, there's a photographer here. There's also a videographer. You may be asked to sort of contribute to that. If you don't want your photograph taken or you don't want to be part of the video, just let them know and they'll stay away from you. And I think that's all the housekeeping from me.
Brilliant. So this gives us a chance to find out a little bit about the response to the questions. That's great. So, make new connections and find new collaborators. That's great. But actually, there seems to be a sort of a good tie, actually, across all 4 of the options, George.
I am, and I think just be inspired by the future opportunities. An opportunity during the breaks to have a look at the posters that were created in the big conversation session yesterday. Some really interesting sort of discussions about the tensions, for instance, between a more regulated environment and a more open free market. What does that mean, and where do we get? So some really, really interesting observations on the future from there. And
the share knowledge and surface new ideas. For those who are early risers who've been up to the Duchy Suite, we have exhibitions for you to have a look at. So do go up there, because that's a chance for you to get to see some of the work that we've been doing over the last several years.
Yeah, over the last 4 years. But the real challenge is to outdo yesterday in terms of the buzz in the room when we have breaks and everyone's talking. So actively encouraged to get up there, have conversations, and meet some people that you never expected to meet.
Absolutely.
Enough.
Yeah. So should we move on to the second question?
So our second question, just to get you going. There we go. Just for instance, what topics are you most interested in learning about today? So this could be anything. It could be sort of housing, it could be care, it could be things like making new connections or seeing the innovation pitches and learning how that's done. So just think of what you want to do, maximum 2 words, and let's see how that comes out on Slido. And by the end of that, you'll be fully practiced and ready to ask any questions during the future sessions.
Brilliant. And while you're doing that, I'll just tell you a little bit about the conference. So we run the conference in partnership with Innovate KTN, and our Innovate KTN are here today, so do go up and have a chat with them. They have a stand. And the idea of the conference is that it's part of our community of practice. And that community is really about bringing together and connecting researchers with innovators and the wider healthy aging community. And the idea is to share best practice, to learn together, but it's also a really great way to connect and to understand what each other are doing. The community is free to join, so do come along, join us. And there's details about how to do that, both on our website, but also on your programs at the back. In terms of today, the great thing is that, as we mentioned, you have presentations and discussions. Please get connected, please get involved. You know now how to do that through Slido. But there's also exhibitions at the Duchy Suite. This is upstairs on the 2nd floor, and it's where you'll also have your lunch and your coffee.
Good.
Yeah,
so scores on the doors. Well, housing really storming in there as number 1. But some really, really interesting topics coming through on there. So dementia innovations, there's quite a lot that we've been doing and really looking for the future for doing on dementia. Interesting nutrition. We've done a little bit of nutrition, and there's a really interesting app that Stirling University are developing upstairs around nutrition in care homes. But I know that we could probably do much more on that sort of thing. Co-production, co-design. I think you're going to be excited by the lecture we'll have later on this morning.
Interesting as well that
it's the whole
care,
range, isn't it?
Yeah, but care isn't as high as I probably would have expected. I'm not sure what that says about our
social care down there is
yeah, no,
higher.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what this tells me? It tells me the same thing that we talk about every time someone says you're part of an industrial strategy challenge, that it's not one industry, it's a little bit about everything of life, just defined by a stage of life, or maybe multiple stages of life. So that's great. I think we're all fully practiced on there. I hope those of you online also enjoyed taking part in that.